This episode of Capes and Lunatics is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. Get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Hearties, and welcome once again to Full Stream Ahead. I'm your captain, Charlie, the Professor Esser, and with me, as always, is me trusty, skinny rich first mate.
It's Mozz.
Welcome, Mozz. Oh, okay, we are burning through these episodes, Mozz. Already at episode 6 of Agent Carter, Season 1, A Sin to Air. Carter believes that the spy that stole Stark's technology is a woman. The SSR knows that Carter is helping Stark. There's a new spy in the agency. Our director this week is Stephen Williams. Stan Lee, Jack Kirby get our Based on Marvel comic books by credit. Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely get our created bys. And Lindsay Allen gets our written by. Oh, fun fact. The reason why Stan Lee gets Based on Marvel Comics by is because Peggy Carter didn't exist in the 40s when Stan Lee was writing these stories. She existed in the 60s when Stan Lee was writing these stories. So it was actually... I mean, he wrote stories for Captain America, but he was not really the Captain America writer. So, and that's why, had this been Betty Ross, had they gone with the original character of Betty Ross as Agent 13, Stan Lee might not have gotten that credit, interestingly enough.
Huh. Wow.
So, a little bit of fun fact there. But in this episode, we are all back, and we open up with essentially, and this is one of these things that is very interesting because I don't know if we're supposed to accept the Leviathan origin story as something that truly happened, or essentially the Doctor telling the SHIELD crew, or the SSR crew, what they wanted to hear.
Right.
You know, when
Seems
he says...
more like the latter to me.
Well, you know, what's weird is that does seem to fit in the story that the other scientist said.
Oh, that's interesting. That's why he was looking to get away, because he knew that his psychiatrist wasn't really a psychiatrist, that he was really his handler.
That is probably a very real thing, you know. But it also means that maybe the psychiatrist came into it, you know, because of that idea that, yes, if you refuse to serve Leviathan, you are simply killed, and your family is killed as well. Because, of course, that is the thing, is the guy who says, if anyone doesn't want this honor, and, of course, you know, dude, you're tied up with a bag over your head, and someone says, you know, you are now members of this group. Does anyone not want to? I don't. I want to be with my family. This is great. And says his family will be joining him after they kill him.
But he seems like he's higher up on the totem pole. Like he's like a master spy or something. He's giving signals to the Black Widow lady. Mm-hmm. So it seems like it was his plan to get caught by SHIELD and be brought into the fold. So it seems like a very elaborate thing that they were drawing them to that was the whole purpose of stealing Stark's technology.
And that was definitely what occurred. And what I can say is, it seems to me that, because really they don't make that obvious from the start. You know what I mean?
Right.
They present it as a very standard story, which of course also means that, you know, he's telling us the story we want to hear. You know, but we can see that immediately Peggy's gears are turning and wants to keep on asking him about the little girl spies. And he is constantly dismissing. He said, "I don't really know. I only did this." Which obviously, no, that doesn't make any sense. You were at this facility. This facility was clearly used for training these girls. You can't tell me this wasn't the case. You can't tell me that you knew nothing of what was going on. But of course, and to that extent, I feel bad for
Julie,
yeah, because on one level, he understands why she's peppering him with these questions, but he's also like, I'm trying to run the office. This is still my office. I still have these investigations I'm trying to do. And this leads her to basically get that opportunity to go after, to chase down her lead. She goes, she and Edwin, because, and what I love is this idea that they realize, and to that extent, our Dr. Evchenko, makes the point about, like, why would they be training girls? Well, Thompson makes this, why would they train girls? It's because, people overlook women. They don't see them. And Peggy puts together the idea, what's Howard's weakness? Women. Yeah. They then go into the list of all of the women that Stark has been with recently. And I like the fact that it's a funny gag, but she starts crossing them off. Maybe not so intelligently so that, they're far too famous to be spies.
Right.
But of course, wouldn't that be just the perfect cover for Ginger Rogers? And as Jarvis says, don't be so quick to scratch Ginger Rogers off that list. She is a fierce one. But they do track down the various women that, Stark has been with, and come to one on the list. And this, I do love this scene as Peggy's investigating and Jarvis gets confronted by the little fat kid. There were so many, when that first happened, there was so much talk on the internet about, he just met the Kingpin.
Oh!
Obviously the timeline doesn't really work out for Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, but it's just like, the little fat mafioso, yes. So that was a delightful thing, but we do see that she has the marks on the bedpost because she knows thinks that all the girls are handcuffed to their bed. She probably still handcuffs herself to the bed to sleep. And as all this is going on, of course, sorry, I'm just trying to get my thoughts together. As all of this is going on, Evchenko is back with Dooley and is very much manipulating him.
Yeah, that little thing with the ring is pretty cool. Is he hypnotizing people? I mean, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, this character is basically he's kind of a stand-in for Dr. Faustus. And Dr. Faustus in the comics is like a super powerful hypnotist. And of course, as everyone knows, the two strongest powers in comic books are hypnotism and kung fu. If you know kung fu, you can beat up the Hulk. If you know hypnotism, you can control everyone's minds. And the fact that it's just a weird thing about comic books, because I guess they always want to keep them grounded and to have that kind of projective quality to the heroes. Those two powers, because they are powers that humans theoretically could have, that anyone could learn hypnotism, anyone could learn kung fu, that those characters that have those as their power sets are universally OP. So
Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and Batman once kicked the Hulk. It is a true story. Batman versus the Hulk. One of the earlier DC Marvel crossovers. And there's a scene where basically Batman kicks the Hulk right in the just below, right in the, it's not the solar plexus, but it's in the diaphragm to knock the wind out of him. So it is a very interesting thing to see him do that. But then again, that's because he is Batman and he knows Kung Fu. And even the Hulk can't stand up against Kung Fu. So, yeah. So he is but he doesn't open up immediately with the hypnotism. And in fact, I don't even think we get his big hypnotism reveal in this yet. Right now,
Dooley's about to be hypnotized when he's interrupted by Peggy, who will not be turned away and needs to speak with him right now. And he seems to really be like, no, I'm busy. Go away, come back. He really wants to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that is true. So you get the idea that he's up to something, but I think we don't see the level of his hypnotic mastery until the next episode.
No, isn't it at the end of this episode when he's talking to the other agent and talks him into telling him where all the Stark tech is, where the exits are, and gives him all the intel he would need? Yeah, it's at the end of this episode.
I thought this episode ends after you get the reveal that Dottie Underwood and Evanchenko are working together. Because I could be mistaken on this, because when you first
I don't think we get that in this episode.
No, we do, because Dottie Underwood, first off, because that's why Dottie Underwood, first off, they go to the apartment that Dottie Underwood was operating out of,
right,
before the heist, and we see that it's been cleared out, and then of course she suddenly shows up at the Griffin, just as the other girl gets kicked out, which of course is one of these things where I wonder if Dottie revealed that.
Oh, right. We get Dottie in the window and Evanchenko signaling to her to back down, not to kill Peggy yet, or not to kill you yet. Right. Yeah, but we also get the agent walking in front of a truck because Evanchenko told him to.
That was this episode? I thought that was next episode. Yeah. But I love that, too, and that's really where we get that idea of that power when he actually... So that is when they decide they do go on lockdown because, of course, because Peggy breaks in, interrupts everything, and it goes into an issue here because, of course, she makes the point that Dottie Underwood... Well, actually, I don't think she knows it's Dottie Underwood yet. She knows... Yeah, because Dottie kisses her and almost kills her. Oh, that's right.
About to kill her. And then when she's breaking out, Dottie's standing there in the stairwell, I guess, or in the porch or whatever, in the lobby, and Peggy's in the back of the squad car looking at her like, okay, I got you now. Right. I got you now.
Now I'm remembering. Okay, yes. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in this because that's when she... Okay, so then when she goes back to the Griffin... So wait, so does she beat up all... So she beats all of... Does she beat up all of the SHIELD, the SSR agents in this one when they're in the diner?
No. Peggy does. That's earlier in the episode. Yeah, because they come after her, and I think she escapes because Sousa can't bring himself to think that Peggy, could be wrong. Maybe she's right, or I think, how does she get away from Sousa in that moment?
She just talks him down. And he lets him go. Because actually that was...
Which is odd to me because later Sousa's all about catching her. Like if you made the decision to say, okay, I'm going to let Peggy, give her the benefit of the doubt. She's probably working some angle or she's probably not really evil. How could she be? And then he goes out of his way to...
Well, no, he go because the reason they go after her... Okay, now I remember. Now it's all coming back to me like a flood.
All right.
So the timeline is Dooley sends Peggy to get the evidence she needs on this woman who seduced, who she feels might be the Black Widow, although she doesn't know it's Daddy Underwood yet.
Right.
In that, Peggy, after she leaves, it's Sousa who interrupts Ivanchenko and Dooley with the statement that Peggy is the threat because he saw the 3 marks and he shows her the evidence that, this is who it was. Then she meets with Jarvis, thinking that she's got this free line to chase down Dottie Underwood. But then, and this was what struck me about this, is when Sousa is on the train in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this week, it's the exact same move where they clear out the car before they attack him.
Right.
And so here, the agents are clearing out the diner before they attack Peggy, and they beat everyone up. And then, of course, you have this whole thing where Thompson's like, yeah, I told them they were going to need more men.
Yeah. And I love the look on her face like, Thompson, come on. I don't want to hurt you. I feel enough pity for your sad life as it is. Don't make me hurt you. And then he really tries pushing his luck. And he's like, do you not know who you're dealing with? She saved your life because you couldn't bring yourself to face the music. And this is who you're threatening with? Oh, come on, dude.
Yeah. And then, of course, in that, at the end of it, and then Sousa lets her go because as much as Sousa knows she's up to something, he also trusts her.
Right, so then why doesn't he help her? Well, I guess he can't because she's passed out, so what are you going to do, right?
Well, exactly. So when they go into... Because she has to go back to get the Captain America's blood, and that's where she reveals she has Captain America's blood. And that's right, because they don't get to the guy crossing the street yet in this episode. They don't, because... I don't think... Do they?
Yeah.
Maybe they won't.
He goes, now I want you to go to your favorite bar. And the guy goes, has a little drink, has a bourbon, really enjoys it, which was nice to him to afford him that moment of peace before he kills him.
Well, it's just, and it was the 50s, man. Men didn't go to psychiatrists; they just walked into traffic one day. It was not a pleasant time, let me tell you. But within this idea of she gets captured because of course and I just love the fact that she immediately recognizes it's my brand, you're wearing my brand, which which I will never understand how when you have knockout lipstick on you don't knock yourself out, right? Because of course
maybe you apply like a base coat of something that prevents it from actually touching your skin, and it's only. And you have to be mighty careful unless you...
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, if you lick your lips, you're going to go out. But that's the thing is, like...
Oh, right.
When she kisses Peggy, you'd think Peggy would know not to lick her lips immediately after. Because I get the feeling that that's essentially what happens is you lick your lips and then you pass out. But anyway, there's something going on there. Or maybe, Peggy's just used to getting kissed by women in this hotel. You don't know. Could be one of those hotels where this is just part of the course. Someone's going to do something. You're just going to have to say, you know what? I appreciate the attention. That's not where I'm at in my life right now. So, so Peggy does get knocked out, gets captured, but then she's being brought back. And that's when she does all the reveal. And she does the basic statement of, Howard's weakness is women. That's why they did that. And we get in this, are her and Jarvis in the room together in this one, or is that next episode? So many things going on in this.
I think that's the next episode, because I don't remember anything.
Yeah, because I know we don't get the Iron Man armor until next episode. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think, because I really think I think the end of this episode is she gets captured That's right. I think the end of this episode is she gets captured, and we get the reveal that Dottie is working with Ivanchenko.
Yeah.
Because Ivanchenko does the signal while he's talking to Dooley and trying to wear him down. And like, you have many buildings. And again, this whole feeding his ego.
The country.
The country. And you get the feeling.
Smirnoff.
Because that's the whole thing. When she's in the dentist's office, she kills the dentist, of course. And you get the feeling that as she's getting her sniper rifle ready, she's there to kill Ivanchenko. But Ivanchenko is the traitor who has to be destroyed. But then it's Ivanchenko signals her, calls it off. And you see him do a little, Morse code thing on the thing. And that's how you know that, because she's signaling him with the light on her scope. Because at first you're just thinking it's light reflecting, but then you realize, oh no, she's pushing a button to turn on a flashlight on her scope.
Because at first you're like, is he not noticing the flash? That's the telltale giveaway sign that there's a sniper scope on you. And then he notices it, but doesn't move. I was like, wait a second, he noticed. Why is he not moving? And then I was like thinking, okay, he's sort of come to terms with that they're going to kill him. He doesn't want to run anymore. He's like, this is the end. Fine, let it be. I'll die in front of this beautiful view right now. That's perfectly fine with me. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. That's why he's not nervous about the sniper scope on him. Huh.
Exactly. He was in on it the whole time. And that's that is the real beauty of the whole thing. It's a fantastic tale. And I know, hey guys, I'm sorry if you're listening to this episode and you're like, did they even watch this episode? Yes, we did. We watched all the episodes, but sometimes we get confused. There's a lot going on right now. It's a very complex, busy world. But I love Agent Carter as a character. I love all of these adventures. I think we've only got 1 or 2 episodes left, and then we'll have to figure out what we do next.
Yeah.
Although there is another season of Agent Carter if there's nothing else you want to do yet. And
might as well.
It's a good next season too, because we get we go to Hollywood. So
but now here's what's interesting. If we get an Iron Man armor, like you say in the next episode, does that imply that might have been the inspiration for Tony Stark's cave suit?
I mean, it's entirely possible. How they describe it, it's a body armor with an internal power source. So maybe, but obviously it was a body armor with an internal power source that didn't really work very well. So I suppose that's the other thing we can take away from it. Alrighty then. Any final thoughts on tonight's episode, Mozzie?
No, I think we got to it.
I think we got to it too. This is a great series. I love Peggy Carter. I hope to see more of her before we finish with S.H.I.E.L.D. I hope to see more of her again in the MCU. I don't think anyone's done with any of these characters. They're too good of characters to let them fade away. But in the meantime, if you don't want things to fade away, one of the best ways to avoid letting things fade away is to keep yourself busy and occupied mentally. Keep your mind sharp. And what better way to keep your mind sharp than hunting killers? Because you can go to hunterkiller.com and look at their what they give you there, which is essentially letting you hunt a killer, letting you use your mind to pit your wits against numerous mysteries and red herrings and things that honestly might make you question your own sanity. So that's a thing you can do. And if that sounds like a little too mentally stimulating, you just want to relax and listen to lovely things on your ears, well, then I would recommend getting yourself a nice pair of Tweaked Audio headsets. Tweaked Audio is a longtime sponsor of the Southgate Media Group and Capes and Lunatics, and we highly recommend picking up their products. You may say, well, how am I going to do that? It's like, well, you could go to tweakedaudio.com. There's lots of ways to find them, but actually, if you just go down in our show notes, you can go to amazon.com, where literally everything in the world can be bought, including Tweaked Audio headsets, I'm sure. And when you buy anything off of there, you will give a little bit of the purchase will come back to the Southgate Media Group and Capes and Lunatics. And, of course, You don't have to buy any of the things we endorse here. You can go and buy completely different things through that link because we don't care at that point. We're all getting the money. But one thing you might want to buy there that actually you might really enjoy if you like this podcast and like all of our podcasts is Pod Life the book, a great little book that the men and women of the Southgate Media family put together, telling their tales of why they podcast and what podcasting meant to them, the moral, ethical, and philosophical implications of being a podcaster. And it's a pretty fun read, so I highly recommend that to you. And if they do any of those things, Phil, and they want to, or Mozz, sorry, if they do any of these things, Mozz, and they want to talk to you about that, how can they reach you? Mozz, did I lose you? Mozz, you're on mute. Mozz? Okay. Well, of course, if you'd like to reach out to Mozz, you can find him on Facebook at Mozz Manzoor. On Facebook, that's M-O-Z-Z.
Hello?
Oh, there you are, Mozz. Yes, you were on mute.
I accidentally hit my mute. My bad.
Yes.
Well, I guess you can email me at mozzmanzoor@gmail.com or find me on Facebook under Mozz Manzoor. It's Mozzmanzoor.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way like they did in the 1950s, well, or later, except with SealTech, maybe they did, at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter as I live tweet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. every Wednesday night, so long as it's on. I'm enjoying myself. It's a great and wonderful time. Maybe the last show worth tweeting, and so you should also be watching it. At Charlie Esser, that's CharlieEsser. Look for the two E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Mozz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been another exciting episode of Full Stream Ahead. You can disembark now, ye landlubbers, but come again next week as we sail further shores. Full Stream Ahead! Arr.